Newsmaker has been in the news a lot lately. He's the leader of one of the toughest uphill business battles in North Carolina over the last 3.5 months, the push to reopen gyms, fitness centers, and health clubs during the COVID-19 pandemic. Doug Warf here grew up in Winston-Salem, graduated from Mount Tabor High School. Today he lives in the Triangle area, works in Raleigh, and is president of one of the largest chains of fitness clubs in the state. I spoke with him earlier this week from my home office.
What I think concerns me the most is the industry itself. So when we make definitive statements about something, that gyms are a breeding ground for the virus, we don't know that. And we have to look at the evidence that we have in front of us. There's a study out of Norway that shows that that's not the case. There's anecdotal evidence from other states that have been open for 5, 6, 7 weeks now that gyms are not part of the problem.
But trying to get North Carolina's governor and his team on board with that line of thinking has been tough. Doug Warf is president of the O2 fitness chain. Recently, his company joined forces with 3 others to form the group Fitness Operators for Responsible Reopening, or FOR. Together, they came up with what is now a 15-step plan that includes, among other things, 40% capacity, employee temperature checks and mask wearing, equipment spaced 6 feet apart, and hand sanitizer stations, things most would agree would mitigate the spread of the virus. I think the big concern for a lot of people is the cardio workout and group fitness classes, where you have people exercising really hard, they're sweating, they're breathing heavily. Even in an area that is socially distanced and well ventilated, they're worried that they could still breathe contaminated droplets from a contaminated person.
Well, I think it's a great point, and I think it's a concern that we've all had. So that's why we've contacted epidemiologists and health experts on how to set it up.
Warf says state building code requires gyms to have indoor air circulation that's 4 times stronger than that of an office and 2 times that of a restaurant.
So that's kind of step 1. You have to have that solid air circulation. And then step 2 is the spacing. 6 feet is what a lot of people hear, but it's really closer to 8 to 10 feet on cardio. That's why we're saying you have to shut down every other piece of cardio. And you're seeing people go further than that in a lot of situations.
Doug, did you see the news yesterday where more than 200 members were possibly exposed at a Planet Fitness in West Virginia, and all of them are now advised to go under quarantine?
I did, and obviously that's a concern of anybody who owns a business right now. I think that's been sensationalized a little bit from the standpoint that if someone went into, say, Target with the coronavirus, there are 400 to 500 people who are at risk by that person being in Target. Difference is that Target doesn't know their shoppers. We know every one of our members, and that's been part of our conversation with HHS, is that if something does happen, we're one of the only businesses in the state that can notify every single person who's in that time frame.
But Warf admits, despite all these efforts to convince the state to let these businesses reopen, it's too late for many of them. Here in North Carolina, how many operators are you hearing from on a daily basis who tell you, hey, this is it, I'm throwing up the white flag?
We hear from probably 5 or 6 a day.
Wow.
Saying that they're done, that they will not reopen when they can because they have kind of reached the end of their financial road. A lot of that is that leases are strong in our industry. Not many people own their facilities. So leaseholders will work with you for a while, but they have no backup as well. So at some point in time, they need to get paid. I see the rising numbers and it concerns me. I have elderly family members in the state. I have family members with autoimmune diseases. I don't want them in compromised situations, and I don't want to be part of that problem. But what we've seen from other states and really from other studies is that gyms are not.
In fact, he says the physical and mental health benefits you get from working out at a gym actually boosts your immunity, which helps fight the coronavirus. Warf and other operators are now watching House Bill 806, which the legislature approved late last week with more bipartisan and possibly veto overridable support. it would reopen gyms with the 15 steps 4 has listed. And we did get word this afternoon the governor has vetoed this bill, so we'll watch what happens. In the meantime, if you'd like more information on those steps, as well as some suggestions from 4 on what you as a customer should look out for when gyms are allowed to reopen, check out the 4 website at ncfitandhealthy.org. That's ncfitandhealthy.org.